Welcome to Kaumudy Global. In an article, Bharat Karnad opined that India should abandon its no first use nuclear policy in favor of a first use doctrine aimed primarily at China, drawing on Russian nuclear strategy. The fundamental thesis is that because India lacks the conventional capabilities to deter and defeat expansive-minded China, it should threaten China with limited nuclear escalation to dissuade aggression in Eastern Ladakh. Karnad proposes that India must pursue an asymmetric escalation strategy, operationalizing tactical nuclear weapons as warfighting instruments against large-scale conventional threats in order to discourage and destroy their spread. Conventional inferiority and nuclear compensation. During the Cold War, the concept of a limited nuclear reaction rose. Both the US and the Soviet Union pledged catastrophic punishments in the early stages of the Cold War in reaction to nuclear and conventional attack. However, the development of thermonuclear or hydrogen bombs based on the idea of nuclear fission in the mid-1950s rendered huge reprisal measures exceedingly suicidal. Any first use of nuclear weapons would have resulted in enormous and nuclear retaliation, resulting in an unprecedented calamity and irreversible devastation for both sides. To dissuade conventional threats, the possibility of limited nuclear retaliation was offered as a more credible option. As a result, both the US and the USSR built up stockpiles of low-yield nuclear weapons in order to prevent escalation. The idea of limited nuclear war gained credence when states such as Pakistan and North Korea acquired nuclear weapons. Equipped with low-grade military hardware and relatively weak military forces, they faced the pressing challenge of deterring conventionally superior adversaries. Thus, to compensate for their inferiority, and they adopted the threat of limited nuclear war to deter conventional aggression. Indeed, there is a general claim that conventional inferiority procedures nuclear compensations. Russian nuclear strategy. There is scant evidence that de-escalation is part of Russia's declaration strategy. The most recent Russian military doctrine, which was released in 2014, and the nuclear deterrence principle reverse the right to use nuclear weapons in response to the use of nuclear and other types of weapons of mass destruction against it or its allies, as well as in the event of aggression against the Russian Federation with conventional weapons when the state's very existence is in jeopardy. Russia chose a low nuclear use threshold in the late 1990s and early 2000s as part of a de-escalation plan. Nonetheless, Russia raised the bar for nuclear use in its 2010 military doctrine. The Russian reasoning for including limited nuclear strikes against conventional conflict was intended as a stopgap measure until Russia's conventional capabilities were modernized and long-range precision strike weapons were created. Russia has just realized that while nuclear weapons are useful for deterrence, they cannot be used to achieve political goals or address security problems in the region. Russia has been working hard since 2008 to modernize its conventional troops and reduce its unhealthy reliance on nuclear weapons. The Russian military doctrine of 2014 codified evolving non-nuclear deterrent principles, envisioning military and military technical means such as precision strike weapons for strategic deterrence reasons. During the 2015 air camp in Syria and the strategic operational exercise Zapad 2017, Russia underlined the importance of the precision strike regime in its military strategy. Russia's reliance on nuclear weapons has diminished as its conventional response options have grown. States that face a conventionally superior foe do not necessarily lean back and rest on their nuclear laurels, writes a renowned Russian nuclear policy specialist. Some want to repair their conventional inferiority. In the case of Pakistan, which has varied its conventional response choices against limited conventional aggression by India, particularly in its air and naval attack capabilities, a similar argument can be made. As a result, it's nonsensical to draw lessons for Indian nuclear policy from an outdated version of Russian doctrine. The Russian experience suggests that excessive dependence on nuclear weapons can be counterproductive and unsustainable in the longer term. Channeling away resources from improving conventional forces reduces flexibility by restraining military response options. Also, there are clear limits to what nuclear deterrence can achieve, and it cannot deter all forms of aggression. Way forward. The asymmetric nuclear escalation strategy and the concept of conventional inferiority are based on dubious assumptions that may be erroneous. Furthermore, any strategy must be evaluated in the context of a country's security dynamics. Even if conventional imbalance with China constitutes a security concern to India, though many, including the author, would argue that India's conventional forces, at least in the theatre of battle, are capable of deterring Chinese threats. Nuclear weapons are insufficient to meet all of them. They are best suited for deterrent via punishment and ineffective for warfighting, according to India's nuclear strategy. India does not need to lower its nuclear threshold to address looming security threats from China. Instead, it should improve conventional response options and leverage conventional response warfare tools. I'm Neha signing out. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates.